Alright, it's the beginning of November now, which means it is time to look at the albums I listened to in the month of October. So first up on the list is Bill Evans' Portrait in Jazz. This, as you can imagine, is a jazz album, to my understanding a pretty influential one, or at least a very popular one. Now, another thing that I'm aware of is that Bill Evans was the pianist on Kinda Blue, Miles Davis. So what I'm about to say is nothing against like the talent of Bill Evans, the talent of his band. But when listening to his album, I wasn't really that engaged with it. It kind of was just background music. It was really good background music, but there wasn't anything that really just like screamed out at me like I usually will get from, well, I say usually like it happens often, but you know what I mean, like I would get from any other album that really strikes me. Overall, good music, of course, but not really anything that felt that special to me. Now, this next one is an odd one. This one I have listened to before, but this was the first time I have re-listened to this album in quite some years. I think the last time I listened to this album front to back was like high school. So, Enema of the State, Blink-182. The reason why I listened to this album again is because Blink-182 did just release a new album, which I was meaning to listen to this month, but I didn't get around to listening to it. I was going to listen to both Enema of the State and as well this title. It's a long-ass title. You can see what it is. The one that came right after. And I gotta say that with Blink-182 and Enema of the State, this album, it hasn't aged poorly, I feel like, at all. I think it is still a pretty good album. It is what you would expect, of course, from Blink-182, where if you know Blink-182, this is Blink-182. It isn't badly produced. It is what you would exactly expect from them. But also, this is kind of their Dark Side of the Moon. This was what was their huge album and still is. Yeah, a lot of good songs off of this one. Specifically, the highlight for me with this album was Adam's song. Always has been a highlight with this particular album. So yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about it other than it was pretty pleasant coming back to it and realizing, yeah, no, the album is still pretty good, and it now strangely, even though I know this came out in the 90s, but it now strangely will just remind me of high school. Okay, so last time I listened to Humano Garden by The Last Dinosaurs. This time, they came out with a new single, their Walking on Ice single. Now, I'm going to be honest, and I didn't realize this until before making this video. So, the Walking on Ice single on Spotify had a B-side called Afterlife. I liked Afterlife a lot more than Walking on Ice. Both songs are good, but Afterlife especially was just a better vibe to me. I just liked it a lot more. And what's funny is Afterlife was already a single that they released, so yeah, kind of confused why they released it again this time on Walking on Ice. If this was the one single, then that would make sense, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Afterlife was the song that I liked off of the Walking on Ice single. But I also checked out, because I just happened to see that it was there and the artwork looked cool, a song called FMU. This felt like a continuation of Humano Garden. In fact, I actually had to look to see if this was a track off of Humano Garden, and no, it was just one that I think was released the following year. Again, a fine track, but it did feel like what would be maybe like a bonus track or something off of Humano Garden. So, now for something completely different. Sergei Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto No. 2, performed by London Symphony Orchestra, and Evgeny Kissin on piano. Yeah, so I also am going to throw in Sergei Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto 2 and 3, both performed by Berliner Philharmoniker with Lilya Zilberstein on piano. And yes, that does mean that I listened to Piano Concerto No. 2 twice. I've actually now heard it probably 4 or 5 times. I really fell in love with Piano Concerto No. 2. This is just a fucking beautiful composition. My, I guess, background with music definitely does come from more like modern rock music. and then followed a little bit with jazz, and then with very, very little understanding of classical. So you could tell me about the different like eras of classical music. I don't even think that's the right term for it. Like you'd be like, oh, this is a Baroque piece from this person, and you are speaking Latin to me now. I am trying to slowly gain more of an appreciation for classical music and be more knowledgeable of it. A while ago, and I don't know if I started listening to this before or after I started making these videos, but I was on a little bit of a Tchaikovsky binge a while ago, so I don't know, maybe now this means I'm going to be on a Rachmaninoff binge. But yeah, Piano Concerto number 2 was fucking beautiful. First time I listened to it, I got to the movement 1 and was like, wow, this sounds incredible. And then got to like the middle of movement 2, or actually maybe it was the end of movement 2, I can't remember. And then the end of movement 3, and it was just like, yeah, this is this is a fucking incredible piece. It sounds good. Obviously, that's going to be because of the orchestra and the pianist, but it still just sounds good, compositionally speaking. And then for Piano Concerto number 3, I need to give this a couple more listens because I have only listened to it once. But there were some parts in there that were standing out to me, especially the last couple minutes of movement 3. Really, I was just being drawn to the piano at that point, Piano Concerto. So obviously, yeah, I think I am sold on Rachmaninoff, and I will be listening to these these pieces again and trying to. Well, I guess the next one I should look for is Piano Concerto number 1, right? Because obviously you'd have a Piano Concerto number 1 somewhere in there. Okay, so now on to the next album, the Avalanches, Since I Left You. So this is an album I've actually had queued up for a while. This was something that I meant to listen to almost a year ago. I think what happened was I was going to listen to this, and then I end up listening to, what's the name of that album? Death Consciousness, yeah. I know that's really fucking odd of a of a switch, but I end up not listening to this album until just a while ago, like a couple days ago. And so the only song I had heard off of this was Frontier Psychiatrist. I knew a little bit about this album being really sample heavy, that this had like thousands of samples. It made it really difficult to clear the licensing and all of that. But I did listen to it and immediately became very interested in it. Like I was listening to the album, paying attention to how things were working together, and like I would have been able to pick up that this was sampling a lot of things, but it is done in a way that is definitely transformative, that makes it its own piece. I don't even know where a tenth of the samples will have come from, but it did end up creating a experience that I thought was really enjoyable. Now, I didn't add a lot of songs off of it because in that respect, it kind of felt a little bit like Dark Side of the Moon, where it's an experience that you just go from the start to the end with, typically, because the whole album pretty much was just an hour-long mix of what honestly could have been like a live set. Now, I think that this was arranged over a couple of years, so obviously it's not just a live performance of everything. But yeah, the whole thing was really solid, and I'd actually recommend this album out of this video. This is one that you should check out because it's interesting to just see how creative this group was in getting all these samples to come together and create something as coherent and cohesive as this project was. Again, highlights for this are the title track on the opening and as well Frontier Psychiatrist, but definitely listen to more of the songs on there, listen to the whole thing. So the last album that I am going to talk about is an internet album. Yes, I have one of those. In fact, I kind of seeked out this album specifically because I saw it on YouTube recommended and thought, all right, well, here's the internet album of the month. So I let me preface this real quick because this got me thinking about some stuff. So this album is a vaporwave album, but I was recommended throughout this month 3 different ones. So, because this was the 3rd one, I was like, fuck it, I'll just listen to this, and if I don't like the album, then I'll say it in the video at the end of the month. If I like it, then I'll talk about it, that kind of thing. So, the album is Oblique Occasions, Punishment. Now, I am censoring some of this because, yeah, I mean, I know that it's not censored on YouTube, but I don't want to risk it on this channel because I don't want my channel getting a community guideline strike or whatever the fuck for something really stupid. This album is, as I said before, a vaporwave album, and the thing that at least what I know with vaporwave is that typically what will happen is you'll take a song and slow it down to recontextualize it. That is the key word here, is that it recontextualizes something, and by doing that ends up making a unique art out of it. Why I am saying all this is because while listening to this album, all I was kind of getting out of it is this feels like Japanese city pop instrumentals. I was fine with that because I was working on something and I'm like, hey, it's something pleasant in the background. If I have nothing to say about the album, then I have nothing to say about it. But then I get to a song towards the end of it. I think it might be the third to last track, and it's called Mendicant. And I kind of liked it. I thought, oh yeah, this sounds good. Let me see if the artist has an isolated track of this on their channel, because I had looked at their channel earlier and saw they had track uploads and not just full album uploads as well. Found it, but in the description, noticed that YouTube had done like an automatic thing where it detected what song was in the video. So I click on that song, I listen to it, it turns out it was an instrumental, so then I find the actual original song, and it's like, it's basically the same song I just listened to, except now there's some dude rapping over it. Why I bring this up is because I'm hoping that someone will maybe like give me a different way of looking at this. Maybe there's a different reason for I don't know, I guess like the merits of the vaporwave being art. So I am completely willing to accept vaporwave being like an art form and all that, okay? And I am open to that. But I just need like a good reason to get why, because how I'm seeing it right now is there is a song that is just a slowed down version of an already existing song, even pitch shifted a little bit and then given a new name. So unless I am just missing something that is in this particular song, or maybe this is a poor example, I am curious how this isn't just stealing someone's work. Because I already covered the previous album, Since I Left You, Avalanches, and acknowledged that even with the sampling going on, the heavy use of sampling, it has been done in a way where it does create a new product. Hip-hop, likewise. There is a lot of sampling throughout hip-hop, throughout rap music, but it ends up ultimately creating a new product, a new, piece of art. So I am curious about that with vaporwave, with what actually ends up being done that justifies it being a separate product that doesn't just rip off someone else's work. Because how I am seeing it is that what I experienced with this particular song is that it's like playing Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto 2, but in a different key and slowed down. And then calling it I don't know, looking at something on my desk, Command and Conquer, when no, you just played Piano Concerto 2 in a different key. Again, I'm just looking for an answer here because I am willing to accept it as a new, or well, I guess it's been around now for over a decade. I'm willing to accept the merits of it being art. I just need to know a reason for that, because again, like I just said, it feels like someone just took someone else's song and put a new name on it. Yeah, so that concludes the music I listened to in October. Before I end the video, I got a couple announcements to make regarding the future direction of this channel. So last month I uploaded a fuckload of videos. Way too many. I think the final count was 17 or 18, I think. I'd have to recount it. Point is, more videos than I think I've ever done in a month. And the reason for that is because I wanted to do a Halloween special where I did a video. I missed a week by accident because I wasn't thinking about this at the time. But I ended up doing, for 3 weeks, a video on Monday, video on Friday. And then on top of that, I then also had, it ended up with 5 of those, and then there was just a solid week of videos leading up to Halloween, which was the Off Let's Play. So because of that, I ended up with 12 Halloween special videos. But at the same time, I also was uploading a new video every Friday that was the Sims Let's Play. because I started doing that as well, because I was like, fuck it, I want to play The Sims, because there is a video I want to do on The Sims later on, so I thought I might as well like get more content out of this. It's been fun making those videos too. It made me realize during this whole process that I actually could make more videos on this channel, because it made me realize how fast I am with editing some stuff, and as well it did keep me on my toes a little bit on just having to come up with new ideas for videos. But what sucked was then me doing daily videos for that week. I realized, yeah, no, I don't think I want to do that. I have decided that moving forward, I will be doing 2 videos a week. Typically, it's been a new video every Monday, but now it's going to be Monday and Friday. But I'm going to say this upcoming Monday, I am not going to have a new video because I want to take a small break, just a small break from this channel, because I have a couple of other things I'm going to try and get to, and because yeah, most of October I really was just pretty much focusing on getting videos out for the second channel as the priority. I just need a very small break from that. But I already have videos done that is going to make it not feel like that there has been a break taken, really, because there's a new video coming out tomorrow, which is The Sims Living Large. Yes, we are moving on to the Living Large expansion pack now. And then the following Friday will also be The Sims Living Large, because that recording session I got 2 parts out of. Then the following Friday, we'll be back with whatever happens. So, yeah, the commentary videos where I talk about stuff like the one that I did last month, that was on Bandcamp, those are just going to happen whenever the fuck. Maybe I'll suddenly come up with an idea for that, for like that one Monday video, but yeah, that isn't changing. The Let's Plays aren't really changing all that much. I think the Sims one is going to be a staple of the channel for a while until I get through the whole game. I will try and find some other thing to also throw in there as well. That way it isn't just The Sims, it's The Sims and a few other things. Because I know that not a lot of you are going to want to watch The Sims Let's Play, so I still want to make sure that there's other stuff out there as well coming out on the channel. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say with the second channel. Oh yeah, that was the other thing that I meant to mention as well. Something I'm doing with these videos is I have now made a playlist for the music I've listened to in whatever month. And what I am doing is you get this video, and then right after you get some of the music from the albums that I talk about. My general policy for how I'm making this playlist is if the full album is on YouTube, like in one video, I'll link that in the playlist. Otherwise, if it's just the individual tracks, I'll pick one song off the album and just throw that in. So yeah, I'm doing that because if you want to listen to the music that I've listened to, well, then there you go. That seems like a pretty easy way of doing it. Otherwise, just ignore it. But it is on the front page of the second channel now, I think. And the playlist will be linked at the end of this video as well in the end screen. Alright, so anyway, subscribe to the channels. I'm out.